look at the economic ties between China and France. Last year, trade between the two countries crossed 85 billion US dollars for the first time. That represents a surge of more than a quarter from a year ago. In 2015, France became the first country to set up a third-party market cooperation mechanism with China. Recently, both countries signed a document on the list of fourth-round demonstration projects for third-party market operation. Now, to understand more about the French election's impact on China-France relations, we're joined by Zhiqin, Senior Research Fellow of Chongyang Institute of Finance at Renmin University of China. Zhiqin, thank you so much for joining us. So, will economic ties and economic cooperation between China and France improve during Macron's second term?
Yes, I believe for me and for many people in the world that are not satisfied or not surprised both that by the consequences of French election, because many people are happy to see that Macron was re-elected as the next new president. As we know, France and China are very close partnership in the past 60 years. As we know that France and China has already set up 58 years diplomatic relations. And France is also one of the earliest countries in the Western countries to recognize China. So we have very good relations, and because of the two countries, we always have very much better mutual understandings and support with each other in different issues. And also the re-election of the new president in France that could help further to boost and strengthen the relations between China and France, especially in the economic business relations. As we know that France is one of the best and the strongest power in European countries. The European market also has a very good infrastructure in industry and also in the high-tech knowledge. So they have very good basis to have further cooperation with China. And we know that in the past years that France and China has well developed mutual economic cooperation in all different areas, including air aviation and also high-tech knowledge and agricultural production and also automobile industry. So in many areas, both countries have really very good deepening the cooperation. I think this re-election result could help to boost and strengthen the good relations between China, because the relations between the two countries is more stabilized. We know that stability means opportunity for both countries. That we hope that in the next 5 years that China and France will have close and much better improved relations. Also can make great combined contribution to the global market recovery.
Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, it wasn't a surprise for us, the Macron win. So how do you think this Macron win will impact the French economy?
As we know, France, the last year, the economic result is quite tremendous high, much better than expected. Its GDP already around 7%, and also almost less or more than 3 trillion US dollar GDP. That means that the very good basis combined with other developed countries in the West, especially during the pandemic outbreak, France still remain a good tendency and the further development strength. So in this way, that could encourage the whole global market to unite together to further boost the economic recovery. For France, they have already the challenges, especially the employment. The unemployment rate in France is much high. And secondly, also these ethnic problems between different nationalities, and also they have this migration problem. So in this way, how to keep the social security and social stability is the major challenge for new elected government. But I hope that they can be more aware about the reality. I think the re-elected president is more or less very, very realistic. So they know how to coordinate with the people in domestic market and also the global market, especially with the international community. So this is the best solution for France to find a right way to further strengthen its position in Europe and also in the world.
And will a second term for Macron have any direct consequences on Russia-Ukraine conflict?
Yeah, surely. I think France has a very good impact on the relation for Ukraine and the Russian leader because they have very good contact in the past years. I think this is really a very good communications bridge and a chance. So I think the re-election is a good bridge and opportunity for both leaders that to come together to have a good consequence for the solution of the conflict. But I think the Macron has always his own independent way of thinking. As we know, his famous conclusion about the NATO is that the NATO is brain death, but also he still remains such an idea. So I hope that he could find a way that to reform NATO, that to further take the NATO in the right direction. This is the best chance and opportunity for the whole world, not only for Ukraine and the Russian conflict, but also for the future of the world. Because how to deal with NATO is another way that how to deal with Ukraine and the Russian conflict. I hope that this could be worked out by new elected French government.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you so much for your insights. Yes. We really appreciate your time. Zhiqin, Senior Research Fellow of Chongyang Institute of Finance.